The crystal chandelier light catches my champagne flute, throwing prisms across my black cocktail dress. I shift my weight, patent leather heels sinking into the plush carpet of the grand ballroom at the Kansas City Plaza Hotel. Around me, the city's business elite mingle in their finest, their laughter echoing off marble columns that have witnessed 50 years of Mitchell Freight celebrations. My mother steps to the microphone, pearls gleaming against her silver hair, the same pearls she wore to every company milestone since 1975. I remember playing with them as a child, sitting under her desk in the old freight office while she balanced the books. "Welcome, everyone," she says, her voice carrying that hint of Texas that 5 decades in Kansas City never erased. Tonight we celebrate not just record revenue of $180 million, but a new chapter in the Mitchell family legacy. My fingers tightened around the champagne stem. Pride wells up. This is my moment too. Months of solitary work, the glow of my computer screen, the only light as I coded through endless nights. The routing algorithm that would revolutionize everything. The board of directors and I are thrilled to announce, Mother continues, the appointment of our new chief executive officer. My heart quickens. Finally, recognition of what I've created. Pathlink isn't just software, it's the future of logistics, built from the ground up while everyone else was stuck in 1990s thinking. Please join me in congratulating our new CEO, Blake Mitchell. The crystal stem nearly snaps in my grip. Applause erupts as my brother strides forward, all confidence in his tailored suit. Blake, who couldn't code his way out of a digital paper bag. Blake, who spent more time on the golf course than in the office. Blake, whose greatest innovation was switching from fountain pens to ballpoints. And we're pleased to announce, Mother adds, a $2 million leadership bonus to support his vision for our digital future. My vision, my future, my code running in every truck, every warehouse, every terminal. The system I built in my home office, surrounded by paper maps and Dad's old logistics manuals. The ones he'd taught me to read when I was 12, his blue eyes twinkling as I found patterns in the shipping lanes that even he had missed. Additionally, Mother's voice softens with that PR polish. We thank Lauren for her technical assistance with the computer upgrades. Technical assistance. Like I'd helped install a printer driver. Blake takes the microphone, manufacturing that humble smile he practices in mirrors. I stand on the shoulders of giants, he says, nodding toward Mother. The Mitchell name has meant excellence in shipping for 70 years. Today, we honor that legacy by embracing innovation. Innovation, he stole with a smile and a brotherly pat on the back. Great work on the programming stuff, sis. Leave the business end to mates. What Dad would have wanted. Dad would have seen right through him. Would have recognized the months I spent testing every variable, optimizing every route. Would have understood that his little girl, who once memorized trucking regulations for fun, had grown into someone who could transform his life's work into something extraordinary. Cameras flash. Reporters scribble notes about the Golden Boy's rise. My colleagues avoid eye contact, suddenly fascinated by their drinks or phones. They know. Everyone in this room knows exactly whose shoulders Blake is standing on. I maintain the Mitchell mask, spine straight, smile fixed, eyes bright. Mother taught us well. Never let them see you sweat. Never let them see you break. But my mind races ahead, ticking through variables like the algorithms I've spent my life perfecting. The contract in my glove compartment, the one I never signed over to the company. The documentation backed up in 3 different locations. The copyright I registered before sharing a single line of code. They think they know the game they're playing. Think they understand the pieces on the board. I slip away from the celebration, heels clicking against marble as I walk to my car. The night air carries the scent of autumn leaves and wood smoke. Behind me, the Plaza Hotel glows like a fairy tale castle, windows bright with celebration. My phone weighs heavy in my clutch. One call will change everything. I slide into the driver's seat, pull up a number I memorized weeks ago, just in case. Just when I first started noticing how Blake lingered after my presentations, how Mother's smile tightened when investors praised my work, Julia Monroe's office, a crisp voice answers. This is Lauren Mitchell. My voice comes out steady, surprising me. I need to speak with Julia about a copyright issue. Through the windshield, I watch Blake holding court near the window, champagne catching light like liquid gold. Mother beaming beside him, hand resting on his arm just as it always has. I'll connect you now, the receptionist says. I start the engine, leave the family celebration in my rearview mirror. They wanted to play games with Legacy? Fine. Game on. The next day, the leather visitor's chair in Julia Monroe's office squeaks beneath me as I spread the documentation across her mahogany desk. Timestamps, development logs, copyright registrations. The paper trail of my life for the past 18 months. Julia lifts a page, her tortoiseshell reading glasses catching the morning light. You registered the copyright before sharing a single line of code with Mitchell Freight? I learned from watching Blake take credit for my college internship project. My fingers traced the edge of the registration paperwork, though I never thought he'd actually. Your brother knew. Julia's voice cuts through my unfinished sentence. She slides a printed email across the desk. Look at the date. The Mitchell Freight letterhead swims before my eyes. 3 months ago. Blake to the board of directors, marked confidential. Lauren's technical assistance gives us plausible deniability while maintaining full control of strategic direction. She's just the tech girl, she won't challenge us. The words blur. Just the tech girl. My throat tightens as I remember every patronizing pat on the back, every leave the business to me sis moment since I returned home. The entire system depends on my code. The words come out raw. Every truck route, every warehouse optimization, every delivery schedule. Pathlink isn't just software, it's the backbone of their record profits. Julia removes her glasses, fixing me with a steady gaze. You could shut them down tomorrow. I know. The weight of it settles in my chest. 300 drivers, 800 warehouse workers, all those families. Your family didn't consider that when they stole your work. Julia taps the board minutes she's arranged in precise chronological order. Look at these discussions. Minimize L. Mitchell's contribution to protect core business interests. They planned this, Lauren. My father's voice echoes in my memory. Business is business, Lore, but family, that's forever. I just wanted them to see me as valuable too. The words slip out before I can catch them, my voice cracking on the last syllable. The intercom buzzes. Miss Monroe? Robert Gaines on line 2. I straighten. Robert, Dad's oldest friend, the one board member who always asked about my projects, who remembered my MIT graduation when Mother and Blake were too busy with a charity gala. Julia answers, putting the call on speaker. Robert's familiar gravelly voice fills the room. Lauren, don't let them push you into a corner on this. I've watched you grow from the little girl who rewrote the loading dock schedules to save 10 minutes per truck. What you've built with Pathlink, it's revolutionary. My chest loosens a fraction. You've seen the numbers? 30% efficiency increase across the fleet. Blake can glad hand investors all he wants, but we both know whose vision made that happen. A pause. Thomas would have made you CEO the day you showed him that first successful test run. The familiar ache when anyone mentions Dad rises, then settles. Thank you, Robert. After the call ends, my phone lights up with a message from Dr. Harrison, my advanced algorithms professor from Carnegie Mellon. Your Pathlink architecture is being discussed in graduate seminars. Don't let anyone diminish what you've created. Then another ping, a lunch invitation from Mark, Sarah, and Wei from the engineering team. We know the truth. Let us help. Julia watches me read the messages, her expression softening. I've handled worse family betrayals in my career, but few clients have had your level of leverage. I pull my laptop from my briefcase, fingers flying across the keyboard as I access Pathlink's root architecture. I'm adding a time-limited authentication protocol. After 72 hours, the system will require my password to continue operating. Your mother will see this as a declaration of war. No, I think of the pearls at her throat during the gala, the ones Dad gave her when the company first hit $1 million in revenue. The ones she wore while telling the world Blake deserved the credit for my creation. This is just business. Later that night, I work in my apartment, surrounded by delivery route projections and system dependency maps. The presentation takes shape. Clean slides showing ownership documentation, technical architecture, financial implications. My reflection in the darkened window looks older, harder. My phone sits on the desk, Mother's contact photo glowing. The one from my graduate school graduation, her arm around my shoulders, pride shining in her eyes. Before I came home. Before Blake. Family legacy or personal dignity? I whisper to the empty room. The screen goes dark. I close my laptop with a soft click. I already know my answer. I push through the mahogany double doors of the Mitchell Freight boardroom at exactly 10:17 a.m. 12 heads snap up from their leather portfolios, faces frozen in various states of shock. The Thursday morning board meeting sacred time slot since 1975 grinds to a halt. Blake recovers first, manufacturing the same condescending smile he used when I lost the 8th grade science fair. Lauren, we're in the middle of something. My assistant can schedule. I believe you're discussing my intellectual property without me. My voice carries to every corner of the room, steady despite my thundering pulse. My heels click against hardwood as I approach the head of the table, the place where Dad used to sit. Mother's pearls catch the morning light as she straightens. Lauren Elizabeth, this is highly inappropriate. I set my laptop on the polished surface. What's inappropriate is stealing someone's life's work. My fingers brush the power button, muscle memory from 1,000 nights of coding. The projector hums to life, throwing my documentation onto the screen behind Blake's head. Copyright registration, timestamp 3:42 a.m., the 12th of September. I advance the slides. Development logs dating back 18 months. Original architecture diagrams. User interface mockups. Another click. And my personal favorite, the authentication protocol that requires my personal key every 72 hours. The color drains from Blake's face as the implications hit. Robert Gaines, Dad's oldest friend on the board, leans forward in his seat. His wire-rimmed glasses catch the light as he studies the technical specifications. You can't be serious. Blake's voice cracks. The entire system? Every line of code, every algorithm, every optimization routine that's saving this company $500,000 a month. I rest my palms on the table, letting my weight ground me. Did you really think I'd hand over everything without protection? The boardroom doors swing open again. Julia Monroe strides in, her charcoal suit a power move in itself. The cease and desist papers make a satisfying thump as they land in front of each board member. This is absurd. Blake stands, his chair scraping back. You'd destroy your grandfather's legacy over ego? The company he built from nothing? Grandfather built a trucking company. I built a technology company. There's a difference. The words taste like victory on my tongue. And let's be clear, I'm not the one who tried to steal from family. Your father would be ashamed. Mother's voice carries that soft Texas steel, the tone that used to send me to my room in tears. He believed in family unity above all. Dad taught me to value myself. I meet her gaze directly, something you forgot somewhere between grooming Blake for a throne he didn't earn and reducing me to technical assistance. Robert clears his throat, commanding attention like he has since I was small. The copyright documentation appears comprehensive. And if I'm reading these technical specifications correctly, we're looking at potential losses of $500,000 per day without Lauren's authorization. Murmurs ripple through the board members. Papers shuffle. Worried glances bounce between Mother and Blake. Fine. Blake pulls a checkbook from his jacket. $6 million, cash. Walk away and leave us the software. I laugh, the sound sharp enough to cut. This isn't about money, it's about respect. And since you clearly won't give it freely, I'll take it another way. I pull a bound proposal from my briefcase. Mitchell Tech, a spin-off company focused on logistics, software innovation. Separate leadership, separate equity, but structured licensing agreements that benefit both companies. The silence stretches as I lay out my vision. Expansion beyond our current markets. Integration with autonomous vehicles. Machine learning applications that could revolutionize the entire industry. By the time I finish, even Mother's perfect posture has slipped. The non-negotiable condition? I straighten to my full height. I'm CEO, full strategic autonomy. The board can advise, but final decisions are mine. You can't, Blake starts. Actually, she can. Julia's voice carries the weight of 20 years in corporate law. And given the copyright situation, it's either this or lengthy litigation that would paralyze both companies. Robert stands, his presence commanding respect earned over 4 decades in the industry. I move to vote on Lauren's proposal immediately. Blake's hand closes around my arm as the board members begin their discussion. His whisper carries decades of brotherly intimidation. This isn't over, little sister. I remove his fingers one by one, my grip firm enough to make him wince. You're right about that. I step back, smoothing my jacket. It's just beginning. The raised hands that follow feel like justice incarnate. 8-4 in favor, with Mother abstaining. Her face remains unreadable as Blake storms out, but I catch something else in her eyes. Something that looks almost like pride. I gather my laptop, Julia falling into step beside me as we head for the door. The morning sun streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, catching the brass nameplate on Dad's old office. Soon it will read, Lauren Mitchell, CEO. Not because someone handed it to me, but because I built something valuable enough to claim it for myself. The elevator doors close on the boardroom behind us. Julia squeezes my shoulder. You did good. No. I watch the floor numbers tick down, remembering all the nights I spent building Pathlink, all the times I swallowed my pride as Blake took credit. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. They just never saw it coming. The next day, my keycard doesn't work. The familiar green light stays stubbornly red as I stand outside Mitchell Freight's glass doors at 6 p.m., coffee growing cold in my travel mug. Through the lobby windows, Frank the security guard avoids my eyes, suddenly fascinated by his crossword puzzle. Perfect. They worked fast. I pull out my phone, snap a photo of the unchanged nameplate beside my office door. Lauren Mitchell, Director of Technical Operations. The timestamp might matter later. My phone buzzes. A text from Aunt Margaret. Emergency family meeting tonight at Mother's. Blake says it's critical everyone attends. Where are you? I type back. Apparently not invited. 3 dots appear, then disappear. Appear again, finally. Oh, honey. The coffee tastes bitter as I walk back to my car. Behind me, the Mitchell Freight logo catches the rising sun, the same swooping M that adorned my father's first delivery truck. The one he let me drive while sitting in his lap, my small hands on the wheel as we idled in the warehouse lot. My phone lights up again. Local Business Journal wants a comment on Blake's press statement about a family disagreement over technical implementation. My delete key gets a workout. Back home, I boot up my laptop. 3 resignation emails wait in my inbox: Sarah from engineering, Tom from systems architecture, David from implementation. Each one professionally worded, each one copying Julia, each one a quiet revolution. My phone rings. Julia Monroe's name lights up the screen. Temporary injunction filed, she says without preamble. They can't touch the source code until ownership is legally established. Blake's trying to spin it as a technical dispute. Of course he is. By the way, Transcontinental Shipping called. They're interested in licensing Pathlink for their fleet. The words hit like an electric shock. Transcontinental? They're not even. In the family? Exactly. Julia's smile carries through her voice. Turns out innovation speaks louder than blood. A knock at my door interrupts my response. Through the peephole, I spot Robert Gaines' silver hair. He's not alone. Call you back, I tell Julia. I open the door to find Robert flanked by 2 Mitchell Freight board members. Carol Weber clutches her designer handbag like a shield. William Foster's cane taps an anxious rhythm against my welcome mat. Lauren, Robert says, they'd like to hear your vision. The real one, not Blake's version. My living room becomes a makeshift boardroom. Carol and William settle onto my couch while I pull up Pathlink's projections on my laptop. Their questions are sharp, specific. Their eyes track every detail. 2 hours later, they leave with USB drives containing my complete business plan. Carol squeezes my hand at the door. Your father always said you saw patterns others missed. The rest of the week blurs. I sign a lease on a small office space 6 blocks from Mitchell Freight. The walls smell of fresh paint and possibility. Julia's team handles the incorporation paperwork for Mitchell Tech while I interview engineers and draft client proposals. My phone stays quiet on Thanksgiving. The invitation to Mother's traditional dinner never arrives. My chicken soup for one tastes like childhood banishment to the kiddie table. Friday morning, I discover they've scrubbed my photos from the company website. The Our History page now skips from Blake's college graduation to his first executive role. 32 years of my existence erased with a few keystrokes. Blake's wife Ellen sends a polite email removing me from the Children's Hospital Benefit Committee. Given the current circumstances, she writes, it might be awkward. Aunt Margaret calls, voice wobbling. Couldn't you just accept the money? Blake offered you such a generous settlement. It's not about money. It's tearing the family apart. No, I say, fingers tracing the framed photo on my desk, Dad and me debugging his first computerized routing system. The family did that all on their own. The next day, the logistics conference arrives like a lifeboat. I take the stage in front of 300 industry leaders, my hands steady on the podium. Pathlink's demo flows perfectly. The supply chain optimization curves draw gasps. When I finish, the applause starts slowly, then builds to a standing ovation. In the lobby afterward, investors circle like satellites finding their orbit. A Reuters reporter calls me a logistics technology visionary in her notes. My phone buzzes with LinkedIn connection requests. Blake's countermoves grow desperate in the days to follow. A cease and desist letter claiming Pathlink builds on proprietary Mitchell freight code. A whisper campaign about my mental health reaching potential clients. A clumsy attempt to hack our development servers that Tom spots and blocks within minutes. The final board meeting looms. Julia confirms the vote on my spin-off proposal will proceed despite Blake's objections. Then Tom discovers something interesting. A secret development team Blake hired, trying to replicate Pathlink from scratch. They're failing spectacularly, Tom reports with poorly hidden glee. The morning of the vote, Robert calls. I'm speaking to the board first, he says. About your father's philosophy on innovation. Robert. He knew, Lauren. He knew you'd outgrow them someday. Said it was just a matter of when you realized it too. On the voting day, the vote splits evenly, 8-8, every face in the boardroom turning toward the head of the table, toward Mother. She sits perfectly straight, her pearls gleaming under the fluorescent lights. The same pearls she wore to every company milestone since 1975. The ones she once promised would be mine. Her hand rests on the voting card, perfectly manicured fingers tapping an uncertain rhythm. The future balances on the edge of her silence. The vote is tied, Robert announces, his voice steady. He turns to my mother. As chairwoman, the deciding vote falls to you, Deborah. Blake shifts in his leather chair, tie perfectly knotted at his throat. A week ago, he tried to bribe 2 board members to vote against me. The smirk playing at his lips tells me he expects Mother's support as usual. She turns from the window. For the first time in my life, I can't read her expression. I abstain, she says. The word hangs in the air like a thunderclap. Blake's smirk vanishes. What? His voice cracks. Mother, you can't! I cannot choose between my children. Her Texas accent thickens, the way it does under stress. Not in this. Robert clears his throat. By company bylaws, in the event of a tie with 1 abstention, the majority of voting members prevails. He straightens his papers. The motion passes. Mitchell Tech will be established as an independent entity. Blake's chair scrapes against hardwood as he stands. This is business suicide. His face flushes red above his collar. You're letting her destroy everything Dad built. No. The word comes out stronger than I expect. I'm building something new, something Dad would have understood. I meet his gaze. You can either adapt or get left behind. He storms out, leaving the heavy boardroom doors swinging. The silence stretches until Robert speaks again. Lauren, as CEO of the new Mitchell Tech, would you like to say a few words? I cross to the window where my father used to stand. Below, morning traffic inches along the plaza streets. A Mitchell freight truck idles at the light, its fresh paint gleaming. Soon it will run my software, but under a fair licensing agreement. No more stolen credit, no more being the invisible sister. We start today, I say. I have the contracts prepared for both companies. The next hours blur into signatures and handshakes. My carefully chosen team moves into the temporary offices I leased on the 20th floor. By sunset, Mitchell Tech has its first external clienta $30 million contract for Pathlink integration with United Shipping. My phone buzzes all day with industry congratulations. The logistics blogs are calling it a seismic shift in shipping technology. I shut it off during the evening meeting with my core development team. Only when I finally reach my apartment do I notice the empty chair at my kitchen table, the one where my mother used to sit for our monthly dinners. The invitation letter for my birthday next week sits unopened on the counter. I change into my old MIT sweatshirt and settle on the couch with Dad's worn logistics manual. The pages fall open to his handwritten notes in the margins. Look for the patterns others miss, he wrote beside a routing diagram. Trust your instincts. A knock at the door startles me. My mother stands in the hallway, still in her boardroom suit. "The security guard let me up," she says. "I hope that's all right." I step back to let her in. She pauses at the collection of family photos on my desk, Dad teaching me to read a map, Blake pushing me on a swing, Mother showing me how to balance books in the old office. "Your father would be proud of you." Her voice catches. I should have said that sooner. Would he? The question slips out before I can stop it. Even with everything that's happened? She touches the frame holding Dad's old business card. Thomas believed innovation was the heart of logistics. Not just moving things, but finding better ways to move them. A small smile touches her lips. "You're more like him than either of us realized." I swallow against the tightness in my throat. "Why did you abstain?" "Because choosing sides would have destroyed us all." She meets my eyes. "This way, both companies can thrive. Different paths, same family." It's not forgiveness exactly, but maybe it's a start. 6 months later, I stand at a podium accepting the Logistics Innovation Award. The crystal trophy catches the spotlight as I scan the crowd. My core team cheers from their table. Robert grins proudly. Blake's chair sits empty, but Mother is there in the front row, pearls gleaming. I think of the framed code in my office, the first version of Pathlink, written in my apartment between midnight and dawn. The foundation of everything we've built. To everyone who helped create Mitchell Tech, I raise my glass. And to finding your own place at the table. Mother's eyes shine as she lifts her champagne. Different paths, same family. Not perfect, but possible. I step down from the podium, trophy in hand. Through the ballroom windows, I watch a line of trucks pull away from the loading dock. Half bear the Mitchell Freight logo, half the new Mitchell Tech emblem. All of them running my software, under my terms. Sometimes the hardest part of a legacy isn't preserving it. It's knowing when to build your own. A year later, the morning sun streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting golden stripes across my mahogany desk. Kansas City awakens to another business day, but up here in Mitchell Tech's executive suite, I've already been working for 2 hours. A knock at my door breaks my concentration. Sarah, our lead developer, stands in the doorway clutching a tablet. The Robinson contract just cleared legal. That puts us at $320 million in projected revenue. I lean back in my chair, letting the magnitude of the number sink in. A year ago, Mitchell Tech existed only in my dreams and documentation. Now 24 people depend on us for their livelihoods. Have marketing update the client map. I gesture toward the wall display where glowing dots mark our presence across the country. Each point represents a company running Pathlink, their trucks guided by my code through America's highways and backroads. Sarah hesitates. Blake's office called again. They want to schedule a integration review for. Forward those requests to Robert. The words come automatically now, a practice distance. He handles all Mitchell Freight coordination. After she leaves, my eyes drift to the framed printout hanging beside my window. The original Pathlink code, hundreds of lines compressed into elegant efficiency. I'd printed it the night before that fateful gala, never imagining how everything would change. My phone buzzes, a reminder for lunch with Mother. These monthly meetings started 3 months ago, each one less awkward than the last. We stick to safe topics. Her garden club, my latest industry award, the weather. But yesterday she mentioned Dad, the first time she's spoken his name to me in months. The cafe we meet at splits the distance between our offices that same day. Mother already sits at our usual table, reading glasses perched on her nose as she studies the menu she's memorized. "The salmon here is always excellent," she says by way of greeting. Same words every time. A small ritual that somehow makes things easier. I order coffee first, buying time. The Logistics Technology Scholarship Committee meets next week. I thought you might want to be involved in the selection process. She looks up, surprise flickering across her face. I'd like that. A pause, heavy with unspoken things. Your father believed education opened doors. Especially for those who had to work harder to prove themselves. The words hang between us. In another life, they might have been a criticism. Now they feel like something else. Understanding, maybe. Back at the office, after lunch, I lead the afternoon executive meeting. 20 years of watching Mother run Mitchell Freight taught me more than I realized. Stand straight, project confidence. Listen more than you speak. But where she ruled through authority, I build consensus. When our sales director advocates for aggressive expansion, I turn to our operations lead. Susan, what resources would that require? She outlines the constraints clearly, and together we find the balance between growth and stability. Dad would have appreciated that. He always said transportation was about rhythm, not speed. The day winds down, my team heading home as city lights begin twinkling awake. I should leave too, but these quiet moments pull at me. The gentle hum of servers, the faint coffee smell that never quite dissipates, the way the sunset paints the western windows. My reflection overlaps the Mitchell Tech logo etched in glass. Beside it, I've hung the original Mitchell Freight emblem, the one that decorated Dad's first truck in 1975. Two circles intersecting, past and future sharing common ground. A text lights up my phone. Blake, responding to the quarterly numbers I'd sent through Robert. Solid performance, Dad would be impressed. 5 words, our longest direct communication in months. I start and delete 3 responses before settling on, thank you. Some wounds heal slowly, others just scar over, becoming part of who you are. I trace my fingers over the framed business cards on my desk, Dad's worn Mitchell Freight card beside my crisp Mitchell Tech one. Different paths, same determination to build something lasting. The night deepens outside my windows. Below, headlights trace patterns through downtown streets, each vehicle following its optimized route thanks to the code I created in solitary determination. The same determination that drove Dad to start with one truck and a dream of something bigger. Looking at the 2 logos, I finally understand what he tried to tell me that last Christmas, when I worried about finding my place in the family legacy. The best inheritances, he'd said, adjusting his worn Mitchell Freight cap, are the ones you build yourself. I gather my things, ready to head home. The motion sensors dim the lights behind me, but the city's glow keeps the logos visible, old and new in perfect balance. Some inheritances aren't given, they're claimed. I claimed mine. And looking at the growing constellation of lights on our client map, I know I've built something worthy of the name Mitchell, something uniquely mine, yet connected to everything that came before. Something that will outlast all our old hurts and open doors for others like me who dare to write their own stories.